Welcome to the deep dive. When you picture Los Angeles, what comes to mind? Probably, the glamour, Hollywood, maybe the beaches.
Sure, the usual images.
Exactly. And the 2028 Olympics and Paralympics are definitely building some buzz. It feels like a city always moving forward.
That's the perception, yeah.
But if you look a bit closer, our sources are pointing to some pretty deep turmoil bubbling underneath.
That,
Okay, let's unpack this. The big question we're digging into today is, well, is anyone actually in charge of Los Angeles right now?
it's a fair question, given everything that's happening.
I mean, the city's facing these converging crises, as one source put it. You've got wildfires, the immigration crackdown causing instability, and this massive $1 billion budget shortfall.
Right, they even declared a formal fiscal emergency.
You'd think that would bring people together, right? But no. The big players, business and labor, they're apparently at each other's throats.
Yeah, the source described it as a spiraling grudge match. Total war at the ballot box seems to be the next step.
Because they've basically given up on working through City Hall. It's pretty stark.
He really is.
So our mission here is to figure out how LA got to this point, where these major groups are just bypassing the whole government structure. And what does this fight mean for actually solving problems and getting ready for the Olympics in 2028?
That global spotlight isn't far off.
We're drawing heavily from a really detailed Politico piece that just came out yesterday, August 10th, 2025.
Good source. Very timely.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the flashpoint, the thing that really kicked this off. The so-called Olympic wage.
Ah, yes, the tourism worker minimum wage.
Right. Mayor Karen Bass signed this new law. It takes the minimum wage for tourism workers from, $21 an hour now?
Currently $21, yeah.
And ramps it up gradually to $30 an hour by the time the 2028 games start. That'd be the highest in the nation.
It's a significant jump, and you have to understand the timing. This idea started back in 2023. The city was just coming out of the pandemic tourism slump.
Yeah.
And, progressive politicians were definitely listening. They were eager to address affordability concerns.
Which are huge in LA, obviously. Homelessness.
Exactly. It's all connected.
Yeah.
Anton Farmby, he's VP of SEIU USWW, the Airport Workers Union.
Uh-huh.
He put it really simply. He said, it's extremely difficult for someone to live here that's making $70, $18, $19 an hour. Just impossible.
Yeah.
And he added that their members didn't want to be, crucial for making the Olympics happen.
Right, doing the actual work.
But then get totally left behind financially. You can see their point.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's the labor argument. Makes sense. But the businesses paying this airlines, hotels, how do they take it? A $30 wage.
Well, predictably, not well. For them, it looked like an existential threat.
Existential. That's strong.
Yeah. I mean, they felt they were already dealing with fewer foreign tourists, maybe from, earlier trade policies and border issues.
Yeah.
So they warned this wage hike would mean layoffs. Standard response, maybe, but a serious concern.
Did the city council listen?
Apparently not enough. The warnings did not deter the city council. They passed it 12-3. Pretty decisive.
Wow.
And you hear the frustration from people like Greg Plumber owns a concession company at LAX, 250 employees. He said they spent almost 2 years trying to explain the impacts to the council members.
2 years.
But felt like, quote, a lot of those messages fell on deaf ears.
So, okay, the law passes despite their objections. What's the immediate business reaction?
Counter move, straight away.
Wait.
Within days, this group, the LA Alliance for Tourism, Jobs, and Progress.
Catchy name.
Right. Funded mainly by Delta United, the big hotel association. They have like a $3 million budget.
Okay.
They filed paperwork to put a referendum on the 2026 ballot. A citizen's veto, basically, asking voters to kill the wage law.
Just like that. Taking it straight to the voters.
Exactly. And that filing immediately paused the first pay increase. It was supposed to hit $22.50 on July 1st. Delayed.
So the referendum itself put the brakes on it even before signatures.
Yeah, the filing triggered the pause. Then they needed 92,000 signatures. They turned in 140,000 in late June.
Whoa. Okay, so they got the signatures easily.
Way more than needed. It just shows how fast this went from a council decision to a full-on ballot fight. Legislative action completely sidelined.
Okay, business draws its line in the sand. How does labor, specifically Unite, here Local 11, react to that? Their win is suddenly on hold.
They didn't just sit back. In June, Unite, here Local 11, they represent, 32,000 workers? Hotels, airports, stadiums.
Big union.
Huge. They launched a counteroffensive, filed their own package of ballot initiatives. 4 of them.
4 at once.
Yep. The feeling in their leadership was pretty clear. Local companies needed more checks than the city council was willing to impose.
So what were these initiatives?
Some are pretty radical, honestly. One hits corporations where the CEO makes over 100 times the median worker's pay.
Like a penalty tax.
Something like that.
Mm.
Another requires voter approval for event centers, and that includes hotel expansion.
Ooh, that could really slow things down.
Actually. And a third one, a $30 minimum wage, but for all workers, everywhere, not just tourism.
Across the board. Wow. Okay.
Kurt Peterson, co-president of Unite Here Local 11, kind of summed up their thinking. He said, there's an assumption that somehow business does things better, and that somehow we should allow them to run our city. They're pushing back hard against that idea.
So, competing ballot measures, but did the unions do anything to stop the business referendum from actually getting certified?
Oh, yeah. They used some pretty clever tactics, you could say. They highlighted alleged deceptive practices by the people collecting signatures for the business referendum.
Which the business campaign denied, I assume.
Naturally. But maybe the shrewder move was this. Unite Here. Members filed over 100,000 requests to have their signatures removed from the business petition.
Okay.
Get this. Many of them had never signed the referendum petition in the first place.
Wait, what? How does that work?
It basically just flooded the system. It buried this city clerk's office in summertime paperwork. Suddenly, the clerks had to manually check every single signature against these withdrawal requests.
Oh my God, so it just gums up the works entirely.
Totally. Forces this incredibly slow manual verification process, expected to take until September, maybe longer, buys time, creates chaos. Classic strategy.
Unbelievable. Okay, so things are getting really messy. We have initiatives, counter-initiatives, procedural warfare. What happened next?
Well, by July, according to the source, business leaders had had enough. Game on.
How so?
A group organized through local chambers of commerce filed another initiative. This one targets the city's gross receipts tax.
The GRT, isn't that a major revenue source?
Huge. It brings in nearly $750 million a year for the city. Businesses pay it based on their total revenue.
And they filed to repeal it, the whole thing.
Yep, repeal it entirely. This was seen as, well, the nuclear option, an all-out declaration of war.
Not just against unions, but against the city itself, almost, especially with that billion-dollar deficit.
Yeah. Exactly. Taking $750 million out, that means massive cuts. Public safety, sanitation, you name it. Services businesses rely on too, ironically.
Right.
Stuart Waldman from the Valley Industry and Commerce Association, he pointed out that politicians used to mediate these things, force some kind of compromise.
Yeah, you'd expect that.
But he said that just doesn't happen anymore, and that's unfortunate. His conclusion. So now we've decided that we've got to go a different route, and that route is going on the offensive.
Wow. So the traditional political process, brokering deals, just broken down.
Seems like it. Completely bypassed.
Okay, this feels like more than just a wage dispute or a tax fight. It points to this deeper breakdown in governance. Can you give us a little history? Was it always this bad between business and labor in LA?
Oh, there's a long history of conflict, sometimes violent even. There was a bombing at the LA Times back in 1910 linked to labor disputes.
Really? Okay, so tension isn't new.
Not at all. But historically, the fights were typically refereed by elected officials. They'd basically force business and labor into this combative but collaborative relationship. You had to work through the system, like it or not.
Any examples of that working?
Sure. Look at Mayor Garcetti's $15 minimum wage back in 2015. That was a big win for labor, set a trend.
Right, I remember that.
But there were compromises built in for business. Like, they phased it in over a longer period. There was some give and take mediated by the mayor's office.
So finding that balance, but the source says such balancing has grown harder. Why? What changed?
Well, a big piece is the shifting power dynamic. Labor's clout has grown significantly.
How so?
As Southern California's economy moved away from, say, manufacturing and shipping, and more towards tourism, hospitality, big events.
Like the Olympics?
Exactly. Service unions have become dominant, and their membership often skews Latino and female. United, same. Here, Local 11 in particular is called a regional behemoth now.
So they just have more power at the table.
More power, and maybe more willingness to use it aggressively. Stuart Waldman, again, he felt that it's been in the past 20 years that labor has gotten much more aggressive.
Politically.
Their preferred candidates have been winning council seats, replacing more moderate Democrats. So the city council itself has shifted left.
Okay.
Not just on wages, but on housing policy, criminal justice reform. Hugo Soto Martinez, who used to be a Unite Here organizer himself, noted this shift.
Right. So the political landscape inside City Hall has changed too, which, okay, this raises the big question. Where is Mayor Bass in all this? She ran on being a coalition builder, locking
Yeah,
arms.
it's a really tough spot for her. I mean, she did sign the minimum wage bill, siding with labor there.
True.
And someone high up in her administration warned that one of the union initiatives, the one needing voter approval for event centers, could mess up plans for 5 Olympic venues.
Okay, so some pushback there.
A little. But overall, she's been largely mum on the actual conflict, this escalating war between the two sides.
Trying to stay above the fray.
Maybe. But the perception, according to former Deputy Mayor Rick Cole, is that labor has the inside track now, and business feels like they really don't have much clout at City Hall.
Which forces the fight out into the open.
Exactly. It's now playing out publicly, Cole says. Less written for quiet diplomacy.
But did she try anything directly, like after business filed that huge tax repeal initiative in July?
Her office did reach out, yeah. And they later publicly discouraged it. Called it a blow to the city's general fund, warned it would mean cuts to police, fire, city services.
Things businesses need too.
Right. But here's the contrast. The source notes she has not put similar pressure on Unite Here Local 11, the union that endorsed her to pull back their ballot measures.
So maybe not applying pressure evenly, that seems to feed the business side's feeling of being shut out.
It could be interpreted that way. And it helps explain why maybe a permanent détente now seems impossible. Both sides just feel they are more likely to get their way by working outside City Hall than within it.
They've lost faith in the system.
Seems like it. Kurt Peterson from Unite Here was very blunt about it. He said, "The initiative process is one of the few tools that working people like cooks and servers have at their disposal."
A tool of last resort, almost.
That's the framing. He added their members would rather knock on doors and talk to their neighbors than go to the city council for hours on end and not have the council respond to them the way they should have.
That's a powerful indictment of the council process from their perspective.
It really is. Complete disillusionment.
So, okay, this brings us right back to California's system of direct democracy, all these ballot initiatives. What does this mean for LA, especially with the 2028 Olympics getting closer and closer?
Well, right now it means 6 different measures are hurtling towards the city's 2026 ballot. 6 major policy decisions potentially made directly by voters, not elected officials.
Because the system allows it, if you have the money or the motivation.
Precisely. You could just bypass the leadership. Katie Yaroslavsky, she's on the city council, a Democrat. She put it pretty starkly.
What did she say?
When we have 2 of the most powerful political forces in our city feeling like their only option is to go to war at the ballot box, that's not a sign that things are working as they should.
Hard to argue with that.
And she warned that if the city gets distracted by a big food fight on the ballot, then really important stuff doesn't get the attention that it needs.
Like maybe preparing for the biggest international event on the planet.
You'd think that would require some focus, yeah.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. We've seen how one specific law, the Olympic wage, became the spark.
Right, the flashpoint.
And it spiraled into this all-out war fought through ballot measures, deep divisions, a feeling that the normal way of governing is broken.
Yeah, a real breakdown.
It's more than just LA politics, isn't it? It's like a case study in shifting power and what happens when powerful groups decide to go around the established system.
It's definitely got broader implications, a struggle for who really controls the city's direction.
With the Olympics looming over it all.
Which just raises the stakes incredibly high. So, maybe a final thought here for you, listening.
Yeah.
This raises an important question for you to consider. When you have a major global city facing serious crises, budget shortfalls, homelessness, getting ready for the Olympics, and the most powerful groups in that city feel they have to fight their battles at the ballot box instead of working with their elected leaders, what does that actually do long term?
What are the consequences?
Yeah. For effective government, for people trusting the system, for the city's basic ability to solve its problems and host something like the Games, think about what it really means for a city to be in charge of itself when things get this fragmented.